most of these teams, and I wanted to sort of go over which teams do we think are real, actual contenders, and which teams are sort of pretenders. I felt like this article right here was a nice little segue for it. Buy or sell top 2025 NBA championship odds right now. So this is a Bleacher Report article. I'm not really going to read it. I'm just using it as a jump off point to talk about some of these teams. Thunder, Mavs, Celtics, Cavs are the only contenders to me. So I have some opinions, but let's see. Fortunately for us, FanDuel's betting odds to win the NBA title. Okay. All right, I'll just look at that. Sorry, Bleacher Report. Thank you for linking this. I'll just look at that myself. So we'll go over the we'll just look at like the top 10, top 15 or so, and we'll try to figure out who's who, who's what, who's doing what. Right now, as it currently stands, the Boston Celtics are the pretty decently sized favorites to win the NBA Finals at plus 220. I do think that they're the best team in the league. I do think that they're the number one contenders, so I have no problem with that. The Oklahoma City Thunder at plus 500. I do think they're the best team in the Western Conference. The Dallas Mavericks at plus 1,000. They're tied for third with the New York Knicks. I actually think this top three is right. This is what I would say right now. I was talking about this last night at Roller Town with Skin agreed as well. I watch a lot of NBA. I watch a lot of teams across the league. In the Western Conference, I see the Thunder and the Mavericks as the only two teams that I can really currently, the way that these teams are currently playing, that I can look at and say that team can win 3 straight playoff series in the Western Conference. Morning B. What the Warriors have done with their depth is great. We'll get to them here in a bit. The Suns, when they're healthy, they look really dangerous. The Nuggets have Jokic, so you got to respect that. But just in terms of what it takes, being a good defensive team, having athletes on your roster, having size on your roster, having versatility on your roster, having a killer in playoff moments, not just one, but two, that you can rely on to close playoff games and win playoff series for you. The Mavericks have that, and I do think the Thunder have that. And I look around and some of these teams are lacking in certain departments. So I do think this is a good top three. The Knicks are plus 1,000 and the Cavs are plus 1,200. So this is interesting to me. And this is going to be a point that I was going to bring up is Cavs Knicks. So I think a lot of it for us with Cleveland is, and I don't want to drop too much, say things I shouldn't, but somebody that I was with last night talking about things who's plugged into the NBA said that an NBA head coach told him that he didn't think that the Cavs were a serious team and that it was going to fall apart at some point. Now, I don't think I agree with that, honestly. I think part of what the hesitancy that we're dealing with here with the Cavs is that we've seen them shit in their pants in the playoffs. And that's going to reflect on whether or not we view you as championship contenders. That's just how it goes, right? You have to prove to us that you won't shit in your pants in a playoff series for us to really believe in you as a contender. Here's the thing, though. Last year, obviously, they lose in the second round to the Celtics. We're probably going to lose that series anyway. They were dealing with a bunch of injuries. Donovan Mitchell didn't even finish that series, did he? Darius Garland is playing at a different level right now. And if Darius Garland is back to being an all-star level player, then I do think that they're an interesting team. On top of that, if I'm them, let the media undersell the Mavs. I don't think this is underselling the Mavs, actually. I do not think that this is underselling the Mavs. But if you get an MVP level player, or not an MVP level player, sorry, an all-star level player and Darius Garland back, I do think that changes the dynamic of things for you. And I do think if I'm them, I'm doing everything in my power. Everything in my power. We're going to go over a trade article here in a bit. Everything in my power to get Cam Johnson. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know if it's even possible. But if I can get Cam Johnson, I'm doing it. I think that pushes him over. If they were to somehow swing a trade like that, for me, that would put them number 2 behind the Celtics in the East. The Knicks are interesting to me. So I've been higher on the Knicks than most, even during some of their rough patches. I've still believe in them. They're great offensively. We know that. I do worry. Like they are a bottom 10 defense. Now that's going to improve. That's going to improve over time. I'm not overly worried about that. They're up to 16th now in defensive rating. So they are moving up a little bit. But Precious Achiuwa came back last night. He's going to be big for their defense. Mitchell Robinson will be back in January. He's going to be big for their defense. Mikal Bridges is still sort of figuring some stuff out. He's been much better lately. But just naturally with Cat as their 5, they're going to struggle defensively. That does make me wonder. That does make me a little hesitant where it's like in a playoff setting, we're talking about championship. Do you have Spida over JB with the Knicks? Spida over JB with the Knicks? What do you mean? Like, do I think Jalen Brunson or Mitchell Robinson's better? Is that what you're asking? My problem with the Knicks is they are playing 38 minutes a game. Yeah, I mean that's obviously concerning. What was it? Mikal Bridges last night. I saw this stat. Blowout win against the Hornets. Mikal Bridges played 45 minutes, I think. Hey, 47 minutes. 47 minutes for Mikal Bridges and a 125-101 victory against Charlotte. Wow. Do you think this is disrespecting the Magic? So, okay, we'll get to the Magic. I do think the Cavs should be ahead of the Knicks personally, currently. Now, this is obvious. This isn't like a current outlook thing. This is betting odds. So, they're saying by the end of the season, when the playoffs come around, we think the Knicks are a better playoff team than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I can see that. I worry about them defensively winning 3 straight playoff series. That is my problem with them currently. The Nuggets have, what is this? The 6th best odds at plus 1,500. You're a sucker. You are a sucker. I'm sorry. This is nuts to me. This is absolutely nuts. I just can't imagine a world in which the Nuggets are winning a championship this year. I think it's even, I think there's first round playoff matchups that, like, honestly, I'm thinking about it like, what series could they get, assuming they're not going to be a top seed? So they're going to have to play like a top 4 seed more than likely. What matchup do they have where they're like, okay, this is the team that we want to play? I think the Mavericks give them huge problems. I think the Thunder give them huge problems. I think the Timberwolves probably, when they figure it all out, give them huge problems. Maybe the Grizzlies. Maybe. They can only beat the Lakers. And so here's another narrative to watch. I never bought into this. I hated how people poo-poo their finals run because I did think that was a great run. They were a great team. I did think they're the best team in the league that season. They still have not beaten a 50-win team in the playoffs in the Jokic era. Now that's why you fight to be a top seed, right? So you can play teams that haven't won 50 games. That's the problem with the Mavs. It's like, yes, the Mavs have won so many 50. They beat 50-win teams. Well, partially that's because the Mavericks are constantly fucking around in the regular season and find themselves as the 5 seed and have to be the road team in every playoff series. I did see Ja get ejected last night, yeah. So the Nuggets being top 6 is insane to me. I would personally have the Suns ahead of them. I know the Nuggets thing is just purely Jokic tax, right? You have the best player in the world, therefore we're gonna have you high in the in championship odds. But I just think the Suns, as constructed currently, if they went into a playoff series healthy, I think they're dangerous. I think they're really fucking dangerous. Now it's sort of similar with the Knicks, where I do think the Knicks are going to get much better defensively over the course of the season. But the Suns, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Phoenix is going to be a team that we look at defensively and say they're good enough to go out of 4, to win 4 straight playoff rounds. You do know Luka plays better on the road, right? Yeah, but just, conventionally, you'd rather play at home in the playoffs. Did Joker not come close to beating the Olympic Dream Team recently? Bogdan was popping off in that game though too. Golden State Warriors at plus 2,000. They don't have a secondary creator. I'm out on that entirely. Milwaukee Bucks plus 2,500. That feels a little bit low for them, the way that Giannis has been playing so far this season. And I don't know. I can't, I just defensively, I don't think they have the juice really. And I think their bench minutes will fuck them in a playoff series. But they've turned it around tremendously. They're tied with the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves should be higher than the Bucks personally. Are the Bucks a team that can beat the Celtics? I don't think so. So that should just really limit their odds, because I just struggle to see them even coming out of the East. Whereas the Timberwolves, I think they'll figure some stuff out over the course of the season. And they've been a top 4 defense this season still, according to dunks and threes. Wolves are beyond cooked. They've had a disappointing start to the season, obviously, but I think that they're going to figure some stuff out. Magic at plus 3,500. Is this too low on the Magic? They're just still so green. They're still so young. I know that they had a playoff series last year that went to 7 games. They played in the game 7. That's really good experience. But they're just still so young. Would I have them? I'd probably have them ahead of the Warriors, if I'm being honest with you. I don't see it with the Warriors. I don't at all. I don't. They don't have a secondary guy. They just don't. Grizzlies at plus 3,500. They're tied with the Magic. I think they should be probably a little bit higher as well. Sixers plus 3,500. You're wasting money. Rockets plus 3,500. I worry about them not having, in a playoff series, them not having a go-to guy. And then we're just the Heat, the Lakers. You're wasting money if you're betting on any of these teams. It's interesting. The Clippers are currently at plus 8,500, which is lower than the Miami Heat. What could possibly be the reasoning for that? Lower than the Lakers. No. Lower than the Pacers. Or I guess tied with the Pacers. No. And then the dregs down here. The Kings plus 10,000. No. Yeah. No. Let's see what Bleacher Report was saying, though. Who do they buy? They buy the Bucks at plus 2,500. Okay. They're selling the Timberwolves. Interesting. How much can you trust a defense in a playoff setting when it's heavily reliant on Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo all season, and Naz Reid recently will emerge from their shooting slump? What about Jaden McDaniels? And how much can Minnesota count on an age 37 Mike Conley? Golden State Warriors plus 2,000. They better not be buying this. Okay, they are selling it. Good. Go ahead and avoid these Golden State Warriors at the championship futures arena unless the playoff tilts more towards 30-1, if not longer. I don't know bet talk at all. This is not an overreaction to their recent 5-game skid. Their offense has existed on shaky ground for much longer. Yep, I agree 1,000%. Never bought into this shit. Suns, I would buy the Suns. They're selling. They're just selling everyone. I think that they would be an interesting little long shot. The Nuggets selling. Okay, so this was just selling all of them. The Cavs. Okay, they're buying the Cavs. What must the Cleveland Cavaliers do to take sole ownership of the second-best championship odds in the Eastern Conference? Consecutive losses to the Atlanta Hawks of all teams may have opened up the skepticism floodgates, but the Cavs followed those up with a win over the Boston Celtics. Everything about this team is a real deal. When you watch them play, it does feel real. They move the ball so incredibly well. You have an incredible, borderline top 10 player in Donovan Mitchell. Darius Garland has been incredible in the pressure that he puts on defenses when he's really going and he's playing with confidence and he's getting to the rim and he's hitting threes and he's got that floater working. And obviously he's more of a playmaker than he is a scorer. So he kicks out to open teammates and they shoot the 3-ball better than anybody in the league. I'm in on them. Dallas Mavericks. Good man. Good. It comes as a little surprise that one of last year's championship finalists cracks the top 5. It is somewhat shocking that Dallas Mavericks belong here while still having so much room to get better. That is what's true. Turning a top 10 offense 4th and defense 8th is a hallmark of a primary contender. There's also the Phil Jackson rule where, 40 and 20? Win 40 games before you lose 20. And it's something like only 3 teams in the last 40 years haven't done that. Only 3 championship teams haven't done that. It's kind of crazy. The Knicks at plus 1,000. He's selling this. Okay. Even with Mikal Bridges roller coastering all over the place through first quarter of the season, the New York Knicks offense is part of the 11-10 no-notes crew. The defense is a different story. New York has shown it can tighten up for stretches at a time, doesn't allow second chance opportunities, and generally gets back in transition, but the point of attack defense is an issue, and the team has not fared well versus elite competition. Only the Sacramento Kings are allowing more points per possession against top 10 offenses. I think they'll figure some stuff out defensively. I'm so confused how the Nuggets have no trade assets like their last big move was AG a couple of years ago because they've fucking had a disaster roster building. They have sucked at it. Oklahoma City Thunder, bye. Celtics, bye. Yeah. Can the Mavs get Toumani Camara from Portland? Probably not. No. So, I mean, I'm looking at these finalist odds. I think right now I think I'd have 4 teams and like teams that I would consider. It's funny because I did my power rankings video a week ago, but that was more of a reaction to what we've seen so far. Just the future outlook. I think there are 4 teams that I would comfortably say I like are championship contenders. I'd be a little bit surprised if it's not one of these 4 teams, and that's the Celtics, Thunder, Mavs, and Cavs. And I think these odds are pretty good actually because I think the Knicks would be right on the outside of that for me, followed by the way Giannis is playing. I think I'd have the Bucks on the outside of that. But some of these other teams just have so many holes and so many fatal flaws on their roster that it's difficult. Lakers, no.